this boy. Ugh.
I say a prayer, I say a prayer, I say a prayer to whoever made you.
What's up, YouTube? Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about the second chapter in my life. There's actually not a song to go along with this one because this chapter was just, it was a little crazy. It was a little crazy and it keeps getting crazier, but I hadn't really honed in the ability to like, okay, we're gonna take this craziness and take it in and put it in music yet. At this point, I was still figuring all of that out and hadn't really hit my musical peak. I'd only made that one song. So we're going to talk about, we're gonna call him Jake, which is the whitest name ever. So I actually wish I could tell you his real name because it's such a cool name and it's really, really artsy and it's probably one of my favorite names ever. But basically can't tell you that. So his dad actually named him a artsy name, and then he grew up and was a little more sporty. So then they switched him to like a more basic white name, even though he's very Italian. So now we're talking like Italian, like this boy, ugh. Like he just looked at me and the way he talked and the way he's just like, he's just Italian. You know, Italians are just great. So I met him at a party with my best friend, one of my best friends from high school. And we saw each other, met eyes, and it was like love at first sight or whatever you want to call it. And then I think we like kissed later, and then we kissed another time when we saw each other later. And I think I found out he had a girlfriend. So like that should have been my first hint, but you know. Anyways, so I didn't see him for years. Went off to college, or I met him during college, anywhere, somewhere in there, blah, blah, blah. And then had this whole relationship with the musician, broke up with the musician, had a little bit of, you know, I don't know, hanging out with Pepperdine time, whatever, nothing serious. And then that friend that I was with when I met him passed away. And I remember it being like one of the first like real tragedies, like first real deaths of someone I really knew in my life. And I didn't know what to do because I hadn't talked to him in a long time because he had like gotten all in love with this girl, and I figured he'll come back around, he always does. This time he didn't. Now the issue was that this guy and me, we had all of the people that knew us were asking us like, what happened, this and that, you were his best friends. And I'm like, I don't know who to turn to because everyone's turning to me. So I reached out to Jake and was like, hey, had you heard from him? Like wanted to stay connected with the only person that I knew him, rather than all these people asking me what was going on with him. And so I really wanted to stay connected with Jake because of this connection, right? So some time passes and, you know, we stayed in touch, this and that. And eventually Jake calls me and he's like, hey, what's up? Like, are you in town? Like, something, somehow this Italian boy convinces me to come pick him up. And I remember like pulling into this gas station and being like, we gotta go. And I'm like, what is going on? But I was also like, I need to be there for you. I already lost one friend, whatever you're going through, like, I need to be there for you. So we have this whole heart to heart. We hang out, we totally connect, blah, blah, blah. We start hanging out all the time. I love this guy. He's so charming. He's so funny, makes me so comfortable. And then somehow, eventually, I find out he's using the same substance that our previous friend had passed away from. So then I went into like super savior mentality mode, right? Now I was like, I wasn't there for my friend. I'm going to be there for you. So I spent the next year of my life driving around from one rehab, picking him up from another, meeting his family, getting really close to them. He was doing better, he was not doing better, back and forth like a ping pong. And I just remember spending hours like in the car. I don't even know how I survived at this time because I don't even know how I had a job with all of this. Eventually I started working for his mom. I was gross, smoking cigarettes like it was my job, you know, just hanging out, like trying to figure out how to fix the situation. Now, although this phase of my life was very difficult, I had some really, really beautiful moments. And I learned some things about myself and about people and about what I needed in a partner. Now, this guy, he was going through his thing, but he was there for me. Like, when it came down to it, I remember one time being in public and there was this guy that had like previously turned me down or something, or we went through something in the past. And I told him, like, this guy is here, blah, blah, blah. And we walked in and he just walked by this guy. So much confidence. And the guy kind of like called out to me and he shot something back and kept going. And it was just like, he defended me. He had my back. And I will never forget the amount of times I was so scared he was gonna, you know, do everything they say. Well, if someone's on drugs, they're gonna steal from you, or they're gonna leave you, or they're gonna whatever. And there were so many times when I thought, he's not coming back. There was quite a few, but a few really substantial moments when I thought, he's not coming back. You know, he's gone, he's split, or this or that. And he always came back, and he always did what he said was gonna do as far as for me and protecting me. And I will never forget this one time I dropped him off at like a spa, right? And I look down and my phone is gone. And I remember just thinking, no, like, there's no way he would do that to me. He wouldn't take my phone. And then I turn around, I drive back, and he's out in the middle of the street calling my best friend on repeat. She forgot her phone. Chelsea forgot her phone. Chelsea forgot her phone. And my whole heart was just so warmed by this man. No matter what was going on, no matter how difficult it was, he repeatedly showed me that, like, people are good. One other moment that really stood out to me, I dropped him off at a rehab. It was all the way in Orange County. I was all the way in Malibu. I started driving back. I'm halfway home. And I just got this feeling in my gut. Like, he left. He left. I know he left. And so I turned around and I drove throughout Orange County and I found him on a random street. And I remember driving up and the way he just looked at me and he was like, you came back for me. Like, he just couldn't believe someone would just be there for him to that extent. So the way that we had each other's back and showed love each other, like, it was very profound and it was really important for that phase of my life. Now, I did have to eventually put my foot down and realize that my actions were not helping him, they were enabling him. And now I'm happy to say he's like in Italy somewhere, thriving, and he does fitness, and I think he's like totally sober, doing great. It makes my heart so happy. And it took me quite a while after that to really get this lesson to set in. But I had to realize, and it was my first time really realizing, that you cannot save someone else. They have to save themselves. And sometimes the best thing to do is walk away. So that was that phase of my life. That was right before all of the music started to really hit. So subscribe and like below. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I will try my best to answer them. I know this is a lot to go through, but I know a lot of people have partners in similar situations and have gone through things like them. So if you have any questions, let me know. Ciao.